Hey guys, Spotbot here. We're continuing or completing, I guess, our specific press conference coverage for E3. This time it's Sony. Sony presented, actually it was about 9:15 Eastern Standard on Monday that they finally presented. And it went for close to 2 hours, so we're going to cover it right here. They started off by talking about some titles for the Vita. Obviously, they're going to, Vita looks like it's going to be a big part or big component of that integration with PS4. I believe that they've told all their developers that all titles must run in remote mode or whatever, or streaming mode onto Vitas, so that's going to be pretty interesting. Some of the titles they said they were going to release on Vita included God of War HD 1 and 2, I believe Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. I'm not into Final Fantasy. They have all these numbers. They have Final Fantasy X and X-2. I don't even know what that means, but whatever. It's coming to Vita. Flower, Dead Nation, and kind of an extension of Telltale's The Walking Dead called 400 Days. So I know they're working on Season 2. I think this is maybe possibly a bridge between Season 1 and Season 2, not sure, but that's kind of interesting. PS3, obviously continuing support of PS3. We've got The Last of Us, which releases in 3 days. Puppeteer, Rain, Beyond Two Souls, which we're looking forward to. Gran Turismo 6, Batman Arkham Origins, looks pretty good, and they mentioned there's going to be some exclusive content for PS3 from Batman Arkham Origins, and a GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5. Sony, again, has a good partnership with Rockstar, and they have an exclusive PS3 bundle coming out when GTA 5 releases. All right, so that was it. I mean, they had a really toned-down presentation as well. It was, it was more talking to the audience versus throwing up flashy, intros and everything to all of the games, which was, kind of different from the other conferences. I was a little bit bored. I got to admit, I was a little bit bored at first, especially with, going through the Vita titles, the PS3 titles, and some of this initial stuff for the PS4. They obviously showed the PS4. I mean, they didn't show it at their press conference in February. They showed it. It's a console cube. It's kind of like a parallelogram. I mean, it looks good, but hey, it's just going to sit on my table here on my desk and collect, well, I mean, it's still going to collect dust, even though I'm using it. But, it's just going to sit there. It could be a box. They could look exactly the same. It makes no difference to me. But they finally revealed the hardware. So they talked about some of the network apps or network stuff that they're bringing for PS4, like Video Unlimited. They're curating content that they're going to gear towards gamers from their Sony Entertainment unit, and they have a lot of stuff that they have going on over at Sony Entertainment. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. They've got Music Unlimited, and I think they tweeted out some stuff for getting a yearly subscription to that on Twitter. A live events viewer and Flickster, and all this goes hand in hand with all their apps that they have running now. Like I use Netflix all the time. So that's just some of the network options that you're going to have with the PS4. Then they came out with a new IP from Santa Monica Studios, the development team behind God of War. And this new title was called The Order. It looked pretty spectacular. It was, it looked like it was a historical kind of setting, but then they had these advanced weapons, and it almost looked like they were fighting zombies. Really? Are they fighting zombies? I would love it. I'm not sure exactly what they were fighting, but the guns look pretty epic. I'm looking forward to that one. Not sure when that's going to release or if it's a release title. I mean, when they talk about release titles, they talk about the first year the console's been released. I'm looking for it. I want it on release day, man. Okay, 4 titles that they re-reviewed from that press conference in February include Killzone Shadowfall. That's going to be available at launch of the console. Drive Club at launch on the console. Infamous Second Son is not going to be available at the console launch. And then Knack, which was an indie game that we saw from that February conference, which looks pretty decent. They then went on to put out this it's called the Dark Sorcerer. It looked like it was like a tech demo just to show the possibilities that are available with gaming in the PS4. It looked pretty cool. I mean, they had these actors. One was a goblin, the other was a the Dark Sorcerer. There you go. He was the Dark Sorcerer. So it was like they were in a game, and then it fell back, and you saw the cameras, and you saw the green screen, and they were actors, and it looked pretty cool. I mean, it looked like they can do a lot, or you can do a lot, obviously, with the PS4. But that's up to the publisher. I mean, the developers and the publishers to push the limits, just like with the PS3 and Xbox 360 now. It's up to the devs to try and push the limits of those consoles. The Witness. The Witness was another title they showed. That's first, they stated, was first on PS4. So again, these are not first-party exclusives that we're talking about, a lot of these titles. But they did get into a lot of indies. They had, eight or nine indie developers on stage playing their indie games during the press conference, which was pretty cool to see. And that's something that was big in February. I mean, indies can self-publish on the PS4, which is huge. Man, I want to make a game. I got to make a game. Do you know how to program? All right, Spider Drone knows how to program. All right, we're going to make a game. That's it. Forget videos. We're making games. No, so you can self-publish on PS4, which is huge. And we're seeing great support come out for indies from Sony. So the indies that we saw, and these will all be a PS4 exclusive debut, all right? Transistor, from the makers of Bastion, Don't Starve, Mercenary Kings, Octodad, Secret Ponchos, Raise the Dead, which we showed a demo of over on NGT Zombies, Outlast, Oddworld, and Galaxy. So pretty cool support that we're seeing for these indies, and indies are huge. I love indies, man. And these indie devs, they love to work with people. They love to get their product out there. So it's refreshing to see that. Then we got back to some of the AAA titles, if you'd call them that. Diablo 3. There's going to be PlayStation 4 exclusive content. Final Fantasy 15. Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy 14 coming to PS3 and PS4. Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, there's going to be exclusive content. Well, they got, I think it's an actual title that they're bringing to Vita. Watch Dogs, there's going to be a 1-hour exclusive gameplay on PS4 only. It showed NBA 2014. Elder Scrolls Online, which will be released in spring 2014, exclusive beta on PS4 first. Mad Max, access to exclusive content. Okay, then shots were fired. Let's just say Sony came out and fired shots, and I don't know if you want to call it a KO, but it was pretty definitive what they wanted to state here. And no used restrictions on games, okay? So it's going to work. Basically, the PS4 titles, disc titles, are going to work exactly the same as they do now on PS3, okay? I can take my disc, I can bring it over to a friend's house, I can play it all I want. I don't have to sign into my account. I can sign into any account I want. I can, play a game down here. I can bring it up to a PS4 upstairs, and my kids can play it. They don't have to use my account. They can use their own account on another PS4. Friends, I can lend the game out. I can get it back. I can rent games. I can trade them in to wherever I want. I could resell them. Okay, I can bring them to a retailer if I want, or I can sell them on Kijiji, which is going to get me probably twice the price that a retailer would give me for a trade-in. All right, so there's no used restrictions, and there was a lot of applause for that statement that Jack Tretton made during the Sony press conference. The other thing he stated, there is no connection required. There's no check-in. You don't have to have a connection every 24 hours. You can play offline all you want. You're not going to be, your system isn't going to be shut down after 24 hours if you don't connect online. You won't, you'll still be able to play those single-player titles all you want on your PlayStation 4. PlayStation Plus carries over to PS4, and now what they're implementing is that you will require PlayStation Plus to play multiplayer games online. All right. The difference between PlayStation Plus, though, however, and Xbox Live Gold, strictly from an online perspective, is that the PlayStation Plus is not needed for those network applications, like Netflix, for instance. I have a PS3 upstairs that I run Netflix on. I don't have to have a PS Plus or an Xbox. You know, if I had my Xbox, I'd have to have an Xbox Live Gold subscription and pay for that in order to just to access that Netflix app over their network, right? PS Plus is only for multiplayer, so I can access Netflix on PS4 all I want, any other network application other than in-game online multiplayer. So you need PS Plus, but there are obviously other advantages PS Plus brings you, like the free games, which is an insane amount of free games. I mean, five or so titles from PS3/Vita every single month on the PlayStation Network for PS Plus subscribers. What else? And the DRM, like, really, Jack actually was interviewed on Game Trailers this morning, Jack Trenton from Sony, and they were talking about DRM. Okay, so the statement is the console will not contain any DRM, okay, for titles, for your disc-based titles, for instance. So, and any first-party games that are published by Sony will not contain any form of DRM. However, it's still up to third-party devs. Like, they're not pushing that business, that procedure, whatever. They're not pushing that onto the third-party developers and publishers. The third-party developers and publishers, just like they can now, if they want to implement an online pass, they implement an online pass. Sony's providing the hardware for them to do what they want and to run their business and to publish a game there. If they want to do an online pass, that's on the developer and the publisher, okay? So if you have a problem with it, then you go to that developer and publisher and freak out on them. It's not, Sony is removing that whole level of responsibility away from the PlayStation 4, which is absolutely smart. It's putting it on the publishers and developers. You want to implement something, go nuts. If it doesn't work out for you, that's your problem. If it works out for you, great, fantastic, good job. And that's really the what they're trying to do with this PS4 and the whole DRM, but not on the console itself or on any of the first-party titles that they're going to publish on the console. All right, we saw one more game, Destiny, and there is an exclusive relationship that Sony has with Bungie for Destiny, although they're not going into details. Not sure what it's going to be, but probably some exclusive content, etc. So that looks pretty interesting. They're using the cloud. Sony bought the Gaikai last year or this past year to implement cloud services. So what they're going to provide is that they're bringing PS3 and PS4 games that are going to be available to be played via the cloud on your PS3 and your PS4. I believe the PS4 will play all PS3 and PS4 titles. The PS3 will probably only likely play the PS3 titles. And that's coming to the US first in 2014, and then they're going to roll it out to other countries. The last thing that they stated, and this is what also drew some applause, and this is, I don't know if you want to call this the final fatality for the Xbox One, but their Xbox One will still be fine. They'll be all right. Okay, price point $399. $399. That's $100 less than Xbox One. That includes the PlayStation 4 and includes the controller. It doesn't include the PlayStation Eye. If you want the PlayStation Eye peripheral, and I don't know much about it, I haven't seen it. I'm not sure if I think it contains like 2 cameras and possibly a mic or whatever. It's going to be available to purchase separately. It's not required to operate the system. It's not required to run. It doesn't have to be left on. It doesn't have to be left plugged in. You can buy it if you want it. It's a choice for the consumer. So I think people were happy at the conference with that. And one other thing that came out that past the beyond the conference, I think last night or this morning, was that there is no region locks on the PS4, which is, I believe, the same as we have on the PS3 right now, which again differs from the Xbox One, which is region locked. All right, so that's the gist of it. I mean, that's everything. They showed, when Jack was being interviewed on Game Trailers, he talked about 20, within the year release window of the PS4, there are going to be 20 first-party exclusive games that are going to come out. That's a lot. And he said there are 40 third-party games where PS4 owners will have access to exclusive PS4 content. All right? That may mean we get stuff early, not sure. But in most cases, it's just going to be, maybe additional gameplay, maybe an additional level, additional character customizations. Who knows? But there is some exclusive content for 40 confirmed third-party titles during the first year after the PS4 has been released. So pretty interesting. Like I said, they took some pretty big shots at Microsoft, and I was trying to see if all the guys from Microsoft were still tweeting, etc. And they were really quiet this morning. And yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. And the thing is, they're sort of in between a rock and a hard place. They can't just change policy. I mean, pricing or policy is not just, you can't turn it on a dime. You can't just go all of a sudden, well, we're going to lower our price. I mean, well, you just either look stupid, or it's like, well, why'd you have it in that high a price in the first place? Or, they can't turn around and say, well, you don't have to have the connected. We're going to make it an option now and lower the price by $100. Well, that looks bad either way. Let's just put it that way. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes and see how the rest of the year goes and see when the console's released. They didn't state a specific time frame for release of the PS4. It was still left as holiday. Again, leaving them the option of providing a specific launch window. Within the next few months, I would imagine, but it gives them that flexibility as opposed to being pigeonholed into a specific launch time frame. I would fully expect them to launch in October. That would be my guess. I think they just want to beat Microsoft to the punch. Microsoft already stating they will be launching definitely in November 2013. I would suspect that Sony would try their best to one-up them again and release in October. So that's it. That was the conference. We saw, 37 titles, I think I counted, that they talked about at the Sony press conference. And we'll have more for you guys in the coming days on specific announcements. Look forward to that. NGT News is back. Subscribe. Do all that fun stuff. Comment, rate, whatever. You know the drill, right? Talk to you later, guys. Spider out.